So this week we're working on elapsed time. There's 3 different types of problems that we can encounter when we have problems dealing with elapsed time, or the amount of time that passes. The first type of problem is when we know the start time and the end time, so the time that something started and the time that it ended. So let's say I went to a movie that started at 4:27 p.m. and it ended at 6:13 p.m. Let me adjust my size here for my font, for my pen. Okay, so we're going to use a number line. I call this an open number line to help us find the elapsed time. And so we're going to put our start time, 4:27 p.m. on one end, and our end time, 6:13 p.m. at the other end. The beautiful thing about an open number line is that you can, I call them jumps, you can add or subtract whatever amount of time makes the most sense to you and whatever you're able to work with. So when I look at 4:27, trying to get from 4:27 to 6:13, I see that I can jump an hour. So I make sure I label my jump and how much it's worth. It's worth an hour. I'm adding an hour onto the time, and I also need to make sure I label what time that I land on. So if I started at 4:27 and jumped an hour, that would put me at 5:27 p.m. I can't jump another hour because that would put me at 6:27, which is too far past the time. So, you know, to put this into terms of how the kids may need to work and think and see it, I tell them, okay, 27 is a really funky time. I don't really think well. It's not easy for me to think about 27 as a time. So I'm going to go ahead and jump 3 minutes because that'll put me at a nice easy 5:30. And increments of 10 or 5 are much easier to work with than something like 27. So now that I'm at 5:30, I can see that I can jump 30 minutes, and that would put me at 6 o'clock. Again, these are all p.m. And from 6 o'clock, all I would have to do is jump 13 minutes, and that would put me on 6:13. So now that I've made it to my end time, I need to add up my jumps. So I jumped a total of 1 hour, and then I need to add up all my minutes. 30 plus 13 is 43, plus 3 is 46. So the movie lasted an hour and 46 minutes. So that's one type of problem that you'll see when we encounter elapsed time. The next type of problem is when we know the time that an event starts and we know how long it lasts, and we're looking for what time it ended. So it could be that, you know, somebody ran a half marathon and it started at 7:04 a.m. and it took them 2 hours and 29 minutes to run the half marathon, and we're trying to figure out what time they stopped or what time they finished their race. So again, we'll make our open number line. We know our start time, so we'll label it there at the beginning, 7:04 a.m. This time we know the jumps, and we're looking for our end time. So we know that our jumps need to total to 2 hours and 29 minutes. Well, if I'm starting at 7:04, it's real easy for me to just go ahead and jump 2 hours. Excuse me. And that would put me at 9:04 a.m. And I'm going to cross off my 2 hours so that I know I've completed that. Now I've got 29 minutes left to jump. I could easily jump 20 minutes. And I know that that would put me at 9:24 a.m. So I'm going to subtract 20 because I've already used up 20 of those 29 minutes. That leaves me with 9 minutes to jump. I know that if I jump 6 minutes, that puts me at 9:30. If I had 9 minutes left and I used up 6 of them, that leaves me with 3 minutes. So if I jump those 3 minutes, that would put me at an end time of 9:33. So our answer would be 9:33 a.m. And we can check and see that we jumped 2 hours and 26.9 minutes. So that matches the time that we were given up here. Our third type of problem that we could encounter with elapsed time is when we know the time that an event ended and we know how long it lasted, and we're looking for the start time. So if I say, a teacher left school at 4 7:38 p.m. and she was there for 9 hours and 49 minutes, and we're trying to figure out what time she arrived at school. We can make our number line. This time we know the end time, so we put 4:38 at the end, p.m. So now the trickiest part of this is remembering that we're counting backwards. We're jumping backwards. I tell the kids, jumping 9 hours back from 4 o'clock is not really the easiest thing, and that's okay. I know that if I jump back 4 hours, that puts me at a nice, 4 hours. That puts me at a nice, easy 12:38. And 12 is always a good point to try and get to if you have to cross the AM and PM lines. Because I tell them 12 is like a 0. It's like you're starting at 0 and counting up. So if we can get to 12, that's always a good place to get to. So we jumped 4 hours. We have 9 hours total. So that means we've got 5 more hours. We may not know 5 more hours. So if we just jump 2 hours, that puts us at 10:38. And I've got 3 more hours to jump. So that would put me at 7:38. And now at this point we are at AM. So now that we've completed our 9 hours, I'm going to go ahead and cross that off. We have 49 minutes left to jump. Well, if I ended up at 10:38, that's not a really easy time to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back 8 minutes, because that will put me at a nice, easy 7:20 a.m. So if I take my 49 minutes that I had and subtract 8 of them, that leaves me with 41 minutes. So I'll go ahead and jump back 20. That'll put me at a nice, easy 7 o'clock a.m. So if I subtract 20 minutes, sorry, this is not, my numbers are not showing up well tonight. That leaves me with 21 minutes left to jump. Again, kids may not know 21 minutes before 7 o'clock, and that's okay. So let's go ahead and just break it up into a 20-minute jump, which would put us at 6:40 a.m., and then a 1-minute jump, which would put us at 6:39 a.m. So that means that the teacher arrived at school at 6:39 a.m. that morning, because we're done jumping our 49 minutes. So we jumped a total of 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours and 20, 48, 9 minutes. Okay. So now let's take a look at our homework. Karen slept for 8 hours and 10 minutes. She got up at 7:40 a.m. What time did Karen go to bed? Here's where we have to think about. We're talking about the action of sleeping. If she gets up at 7:40 a.m., it might be easy for kids to think, oh, she's starting her day at 7:40 a.m., so that's the start time. But we need to think that we're talking about her sleeping. 7:40 is the end of her sleeping. So 7:40 actually goes at the end of our number line. And so we know the end time we're going to have to count back 8 hours and 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and count back 7 hours, because that'll put me at a nice, easy 12:40. Let me write my time here. I need 8 hours and 10 minutes. So I've got an hour that I need to jump back. That would be 11:40, and here we are at AM. And then, oops, that was supposed to be 1 hour. So sorry. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So if I jump back 1 hour, that puts me at 11:40. And now because we've crossed the 12 o'clock line, we're at PM. So I'm done with my 8 hours. Now I need to jump back 10 minutes. That puts me at 11:30 p.m. So Karen went to bed at 11:30 p.m. That's way too late in my opinion. So hopefully it was a weekend, because I know I can't make it that late. Okay, next question. Greg rented a movie that is 2 hours and 18 minutes long. He started the movie at 7:12. What time will the movie end? So it starts at 7:12 p.m. We know that it lasts 2 hours and 18 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and jump the 2 hours. That puts me at 9:12 p.m. 18 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and jump 8 minutes because that'll put me at a multiple of 10, so that puts me at 9:20 p.m. So if I subtract the 8 minutes from the 18 total that I needed to jump, that leaves me with 10 minutes to jump. So if I jump 10 minutes, that puts me at 9:30 p.m. So that means the movie was over at 9:30 p.m. So our answer is C. And just to clarify, it doesn't have to be done exactly this way in terms of the jumps. It doesn't matter what you jump, what increments you jump in, as long as you end up on the correct time. So again, that's the beauty of the open number line, is that you can add and subtract whatever makes the most sense to you and whatever is easiest for you. Our next question, Ashley wants to arrive at the airport at 3:30 p.m. It takes her 1 hour and 40 minutes to get there. What time should Amanda leave her house? Well, I assume they mean Ashley. That's strange. So, she wants to arrive. Again, this is going to be a tricky one because we need to think about her journey to the airport. It needs to end at 3:30, so we're counting backwards. We're planning backwards to plan when she should leave her house. So already we can rule out A and B because it doesn't make sense for her to leave her house at 5:10 and arrive at the airport at 3:30. So that leaves us with two answer choices, C or D. So we need to jump back an hour and 40 minutes. If I jump back 1 hour, that puts me at 2:30. 40-minute jump, I'm going to break it into 30 minutes, which puts me at 2 o'clock. And then 10 minutes, which puts me at 1:50. So our answer is D. Okay, question 10. Cora arrived at school at 7:55 a.m. She left school for 1 hour for a doctor's appointment. She was dismissed from school at 3:15. How long was Cora at school? So here's the way I would conquer this guy. She's at school from 7:55 to 3:15. I'd figure out the length of the whole school day and then just subtract an hour at the end. So 7:55, let's do 4 hours. That puts us at 11:55. If I jump another hour, that'll put me at 12:55. I can't do 3 hours, I could do 2 hours to put me at 2:55. 5 minutes puts me at 3, and then 15 minutes puts me at 3:15. So we have 4, 6, 7 hours and 20 minutes. That's the length of the school day, but she left school for an hour. So I'm going to subtract that 1 hour. So that leaves me with 6 hours and 20 minutes. That's how long Cora was at school for that one day. And our last one. Mike starts his run at 11:30 and runs 4 12-minute miles. What time does he finish his run? So a couple ways we can do this. We could start at 11:30 and jump 4 12-minute segments, or we could say, okay, he runs a 12-minute mile, so each mile is a group of 12 minutes. There's 4 of them. That's a total of a 48-minute run. So from 11:30, I'm going to jump 30 minutes. That'll put me at 12. I'll jump 10. That puts me at 12:10. Excuse me. I've run a total of 40 minutes. I need to run 48. So if we add 8 more minutes on, that puts us at 12:18. So the answer would be B. I know that was a little fast and furious. I'm just about out of time on my recorder here. So hopefully the strategy makes a little more sense and you are able to use it and help explain it to your child. Please don't hesitate to email if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching.